Lampe, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how screen time can have an impact on childhood development. A study that I found said that our tweens today, so 10 to 12-year-olds, are spending less time outside than inmates do. So it got me thinking, where do our kids spend their time? What are they doing with their time if they're not going outside? So research shows that children today spend about over 7 hours of time each day looking at screens, whether it's phones or TVs or computers or tablets, whatever it is. They're spending that time, a third of their day, looking at those screens for social media, for homework, for TV and video games, and they're not going outside. You add all that time up, and it adds up to a quarter of a year being spent looking at a screen. 3 months of time looking at a screen. And what are they gaining from that? Is it harming them? And that's things that I want to address today. I'm going to start with some risk factors that go into their physical development. And the biggest thing, it's something we talked about in our course, is childhood obesity. Increased screen time is directly linked to childhood obesity. So reducing the amount of time that our kids spend looking at screens is going to help reduce that risk and the numbers of childhood obesity cases. One study showed that for every hour of TV, kids are consuming an extra 160 calories. The average kid watches about 4.5 hours of TV per day, so that's an extra 700 calories per day. And that is going to contribute to the childhood obesity problem. Another physical development concern is that kids are not sleeping enough. 6 out of 10 kids do not get enough sleep at night. And the sleep that they do get is full of sleep disturbances and nightmares, and that's contributed to by their amount of screen time. So not only are they not sleeping enough, but they're not getting a good quality of sleep. For cognitive development, the big risk factors are exposed at a young age to screen time, a large amount of screen time. Toddlers actually see a delay in some of their language development. And then for children and adolescents, a big risk factor for cognitive development is a decrease in academic performance. I am a high school teacher. I struggle with this every day that I teach my kids, and they don't know how to think or problem solve because they think that their technology has to do it for them. So fighting that battle of when technology is good and how to reduce the use of it is something that is very personal to me. For psychosocial development risk factors, it's been shown that an increased amount of screen time leads to an increase of hyperactivity and emotional problems, not as emotionally developed, as well as not being able to interact with peers as well. Our children today can't even talk to each other. They know how to text each other or Snapchat each other. They know how to use their screens to communicate, but not face-to-face contact. So that's a big thing that stood out to me. Also, there was a study that showed the increase of internet usage was relational to the increased rate of depression and anxiety in children. But back to that social media, our kids are spending so much time on social media. There was a survey done, and 4 out of 5 kids at the age of 12 have a social media profile. The big social media is used by the top 3 social medias used by that age group: Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And what I thought was interesting about this study, 4 to 5 12-year-olds have a profile, but the minimum age by all 3 of these social media platforms to have an account is 13 years old. So we as adults in children's lives, whether we're teachers, parents, friends, aunts, uncles, we need to be helping them understand the significance of screen time and how it can be harmful to them and ways to reduce that. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So NPR did a study about screen time, and what they said in their article was that the Goldilocks approach is best for screen time. It's impossible to have no technology, no screen time in today's world. It's just part of our everyday lives. But you don't want to have too much of it. You want to have just the right amount. So some things that you can do to help limit that are to be a role model. Show them that you can put down your phone and have a conversation with them, or turn off the TV rather than have background noise whenever you're fixing dinner or doing whatever. Know the risk. You need to educate yourself about what children are doing on those screens. That way you can know how they're going to be susceptible. Create technology-free areas in your home. It's really encouraged to not have any TV or screens in children's bedrooms because it's, one, harder to monitor and keep track of what they're doing, and two, it just is going to increase the amount of time they spend on that screen. And then have times where you unplug. Everyone puts up their phones and we turn off the TV and have dinner. Or one study suggests that an hour before bedtime you make sure you turn off all of your screens and just take time to unwind. Something simple that's been around for a long time and maybe not used as much as it could be, using your parental controls. Knowing where your kids are going online and what they're doing with their screens is more important than how much time they're spending looking at those screens. And then the last thing is to encourage other activities. Get kids up, get them to play a board game inside, or work on a puzzle, or go outside and ride bikes, or take a walk, or play games. Just encouraging to do something other than looking at the screen, whether it's inside or outside, and being a part of that, building that relationship with kids while they do things. So big takeaway from this is even Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, who are some of the founding fathers of the technology we use today, they knew the importance of being able to limit screen time and limited that for their own children. So what I want to say is just be the example. Limit your own screen time. Think about how you're using it. Is it actually beneficial, or is it just a way to waste your time? And then help implement that into your kids to help positively impact their development.